with the scent of potpourri. Films we commit to memory. Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV. Looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spinoff podcasts at ObsessiveViewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Recently on Patreon, I did an immediate reaction review of Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And yeah, I have other stuff up there. I've got, episode reviews of The Haunting of Hill House and what else? A bunch of stuff. Book reviews of like The Captives War and The Expanse and various Stephen King things and other movie stuff. So anyway, that's all at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Sign up for that and a bunch more content. And if you want to support me without messing around with Patreon or just want to donate some money, you can always buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer, which I'm pretty sure still exists because I've not checked it in a while. But, yeah, anyway, later in the show, we're going to be reviewing the recent horror film from André Øvredal, Passenger, in this week's secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and some Indianapolis screenings, maybe. I don't have it in my notes. Before reviewing Kane Parsons' horror debut, Backrooms, in this week's feature review. And if you want to skip around, there are show notes, or there are timestamps in the show notes and the description. So check that if you want to skip around. But joining me this week for this episode is returning champion, my friend and IFJA colleague, whose work can be found at MidwestFilmJournal.com, and he can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Sam Movie Man. It's Sam Watermeier. Hello, Sam. How's it going? And welcome back to the show.
Hey, Matt. It's going great. I'm happy to be with you.
Nice. I am happy to be with you as well, especially since recently on Midwest Film Journal, you have penned some reviews. I almost said mister. You've penned some reviews, mister. So sorry. Including your thoughts on Backrooms and Obsession, which you were kind enough to donate some of your time to review with me on the previous episode of the podcast. And for the All Is Feral essay series on Midwest Film Journal, you wrote about Phone Booth. Do you care to comment about 2004's Phone Booth?
Yeah, I loved it in 2004. Rewatching it again was a bit strange. It's a very dated movie, as you can tell from its title alone. I still enjoyed it. It's a bit silly. I wasn't able to take it quite as seriously as I did when I was in middle school.
Sure.
But I mean, you have to hand it to Colin Farrell. It's pretty much a one-man show. I mean, I guess a two-hander, but you know, Kiefer Sutherland appears in voice only. So it's really just Colin Farrell on screen for the most part, and it was the first big role of his I had seen. I had seen him before in Minority Report, but he's you know, more of a supporting player. You know, this was the first movie I saw him as a leading man, as the central character. And it's cool to see how far he's come from then. To really become one of our finest actors.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing phone booth in the theater, like when I was a kid. Yeah, I remember really liking those like high concept thriller movies. Like I know the writer of that wrote Cellular, which I think there was an anecdote like on IMDb trivia or whatever that said something like, yeah, when he wrote whichever one he wrote first, I think he wrote Phone Booth first, but then he wrote Cellular and he showed it to friends and they were like, you just wrote the same movie twice. But I really like those like high concept thrillers that I feel like I don't know if they really exist anymore, like at least in theatrical release, but I like those kinds of things. Like, oh, what if, killer with a sniper rifle with a guy at a phone booth? Like, what if? That'd be neat.
Yeah, and another fun fact, it actually started as a pitch to Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that writer, Larry Cohen, first pitched it to Hitchcock like in the late 70s, early 80s,
Wow.
I think. Yeah, so it's cool. And, it made its way through several filmmakers, eventually all the way to Michael Bay.
Oh, wow.
Who famously said after reading the script, how the hell do we get this guy out of the phone booth?
Jesus.
Thus, totally missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that movie has an interesting history. Like,
Wow.
Jim Carrey was supposed to play the lead role before Colin Farrell.
Wow.
Thankfully, he took the much better part in Joel Schumacher's The Number 23.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There aren't many like kind of elevator pitch movies like that these days.
Yeah. I would like to
like
see
an
a
old man
resurgence.
these days.
Right. Yeah. I would like to see a resurgence of that. I think that would be cool. There would be some interesting stuff. I mean, I guess we got that with like Drop, the Christopher Landon movie with the cell phone and the restaurant thing.
Oh yeah,
the airdropping stuff, which I enjoyed. Yeah. Was it called Drop? That was yeah.
It was called Drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows how memorable they've been.
Well, I kept thinking, like I said, Drop, and I was like, yeah, it's clearly Drop because of airdropping. But then I got in my head because today the trailer for Fall 2, Dead Point or something, came out, and I was like, well, wait, Fall and Drop, there are two movies that like this. And Fall kind of is similar in terms of like being an elevator pitch movie like that. So I don't know. Maybe they do exist. Much like the M&Ms in Santa Claus, they do exist. So anyway,
that's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, check out Sam's essay at MidwestFilmJournal.com and the rest of Midwest Film Journal's All Is Feral essay series over there. So check it out, MidwestFilmJournal.com. Yeah, so Sam, we are going to review some movies, but before that, we're going to talk about what's playing in indie this week, which I don't have any notes for me with that, but and then we'll talk about news before the reviews. But in terms of what's playing around indie this week, I'm not sure. I know that like at Alamo Drafthouse, of course, the first and third Sunday of each month, Lou Harry hosts movie trivia, which when I saw The Right Stuff at Alamo a few weeks ago, it was really cool because I got to see like the pre-roll like banner thing that they have for the movie trivia. It looks very, very cool. It's just really cool to see like, oh yeah, movie trivia, first and third Sunday of every month, hosted by Lou Harry. That was really cool to see. But yeah, I might be there this Sunday for the trivia. Which they're also, I think that day they are showing, Everything Everywhere All at Once is playing this weekend at the Alamo, and they are also showing the new 4K restoration of Trainspotting for the 30th anniversary this weekend at Alamo, or at least on Sunday. And then on Saturday, they're also showing Showgirls and To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. So some interesting stuff at Alamo this weekend. And Sam, I believe, is this weekend when Can is doing Happiness?
Yes, it is. I can't wait. I'm especially excited to see that movie with a crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I hope people turn out for that, because it is the way I put it to a friend of mine is it puts you in other people's shoes in a very uncomfortable way. Mm-hmm. And I'm eager to see other audience members squirming around during that movie.
Yes.
Because it has many cringy moments.
Oh, 100%. In my head, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that would be interesting to see that movie in a theater filled with other weirdos that like the movie. But I didn't really consider the idea that like, oh, people are going to go into that movie and maybe not know the movie. And I'm curious what their reaction is going to be. Especially, this is maybe too blue for the obsessive viewer, but especially at the end of the movie when you stand up and you recite the final line of the movie, like at the exact moment that it's said in the movie. I'll leave it at that.
When that movie came out, it was very controversial. And the writer-director Todd Solondz received hate mail and death threats, and honestly, I think it's probably just as controversial now.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see it with people who maybe haven't seen it before, because it's definitely challenging.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I just thought when you were talking, I was like imagining you saying like, I'm really interested to see it with, and like you paused a little bit, and I just thought like, what if he says with my church group? So anyway, you can see Happiness at the Can this weekend. I'm excited for you to see it in the theater, Sam. That's because I know you love that movie. Yeah. And
you weirdo.
Yes.
That's what you were going to say afterwards.
No, that's the weirdo is always implied. But for more information on what is going around in the movie world of Indianapolis, check the show notes for links to all of the theaters that are around here, like the Alamo Draft House, the Can Theater, Living Room Theaters, Keystone Art, Flicks Brew House, and others. So that is what's going on around Indy this week and weekend. And Sam, would you like to do some news before the reviews of Backrooms and Passenger?
Let's do it.
All right. So, as I've been alluding to before, I don't have many notes or anything. And I thought that I know that there has been news that has broken. There has been news that has come out. But I just wanted to allocate the news before the reviews segment of this episode in particular to talk about one news item that is of specific importance and interest to us and by extension to the listeners, I hope. But our friend and IFJ colleague, Nick Rogers, was on Pop Culture Jeopardy. And was he ever on Pop Culture Jeopardy? Because holy shit, let's talk about it. So we alluded to it or we referenced it a couple of weeks ago or a couple of episodes ago, I think. Wait, Sam, did you reviewed Obsession with me? Didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay, because yeah. And did we talk about Pop Culture Jeopardy?
Just a little bit, very briefly. We were about to go to the showing of his first episode.
Yes.
Nick's first episode.
Okay, got it. So anyway, Nick was on Pop Culture Jeopardy with his teammate trivia partner Shane. And so for those who don't know, Pop Culture Jeopardy, you can watch it on Netflix. This season premiered April, or at some point, like I think early April or April 27th. I'm not sure. Anyway, no, it was April 27th, I think. But anyway, he was on an episode 13, and we got together. We watched it at a bar, and it was so thrilling to watch them just kick so much ass. And I don't want to necessarily spoil too much, but like at the end of that episode, at the end of it, he's like, so we're gonna all get together tomorrow too, because they're advancing. And all I'll kind of say is that their run was amazing. They made it to the semifinals. I watched the semifinals episode that they were on that aired this week, and the roller coaster that I experienced was insane. That was like at the end of the year, at the beginning of next year rather, when me, Mike, and Tiny do our year in review episode. Like recent years, I'll put like a little blurb of like, oh, these are some standout TV stuff that I watched in the year. And like, I'm going to my notes for the year in review episode that's half a year away, and I'm putting Pop Culture Jeopardy because holy shit, that semifinals game was intense. Sam, what did you think of our friend Nick's run on Pop Culture Jeopardy?
Oh yeah, I think I can speak for both of us when I say we're not biased. Like that really is great TV.
Yes.
It's exciting, unpredictable. The game itself turns into like a real bar burner, a barn burner, bar burner. Like it's a very close game at one point. Nick's just sort of rapid fire knowledge,
yes,
is incredible to watch. And he and Shane also just have really great personality moments where, you know, they have banter with the host, Colin Jost. They talk about themselves in a very endearing way. Like, not only did they give a great trivia performance, but they made a great TV appearance. Like, yes, their charm on screen is just great. So totally. And you know, the Nick's run didn't end as we hoped it would, to be kind of vague about it, but it was incredible. We're so proud and excited about it. Yeah, that was really cool. A highlight of the year.
Totally, absolutely agree. And yes, incredibly proud of what he accomplished and what he and Shane accomplished on there. Like, God, it was like I was watching the semifinals at home, and there was another watch party that I didn't go to, but that kind of tipped me off to like, okay, well, maybe this won't. It's a watch party for the semifinals. I don't know if there's gonna be a watch party for the finals going into it, and that made me a little nervous. But like the way that episode plays out is so riveting and thrilling. Like, I was sitting on my recliner and I had Pizza, my cat, on my chest, and like I was getting very amped up, excited, animated, but I was trying to control myself because I didn't want to scare Pizza. So like when it got to Final Jeopardy, I was like whispering to her, like, please let them win, Pizza, please let them win. And then like it got to a certain point where like I had to gently remove her from my chest so that I could shout and jump up and just let the energy that had been built up in my brain, in my body, just escape. I'm not going to say what kind of energy to not give away spoilers or anything, but what an end to that episode. Just insanely like entertaining and like you said, maybe not how people would have wanted it to end. But man, just really good television. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, after hearing the backstories of the other contestants, like the emotional stakes are really interesting.
Oh yeah.
And Colin Jost actually, did like a little recap after the episode. And he said that semifinal episode is a must watch of the whole season.
Yes.
And so that was cool to see. And
in
like
the rating, the rating on IMDb for that is 9.1 out of 10. Like,
yeah,
so like incredible. It's well worth it.
I think it's the highest rated episode so far. And, yeah, and it just like, if you know Nick, like it has so many great moments, like the say it like Keanu category was just incredible.
I said in our group chat that we're in with him, I had mentioned like it's like the producers of Jeopardy were like, oh, okay, well we're gonna do a category specifically so Nick's friends can have a Nick soundboard for their group chat.
Yeah, he pretty much dominates that category, and like it's just like that's a great piece of TV right there. Just to watch him perform, like I don't know, like Nick's sort of most entertaining self really comes out in his pop culture Jeopardy run.
Oh, absolutely. And I really hope that, we get to see him again in any way on any kind of screen. It's always a joy. It was such a delight. Like I had posted that I can't overstate the just amount of joy that I got watching him and Shane compete in pop culture Jeopardy. Like it was so much fun to watch. Not only because I know Nick, but like you said, because of just their energy, their personality, the way that their TV-ness of it was really good.
Well said. Beautifully said.
Thank you. So that is Pop Culture Jeopardy. I would highly recommend watching it on Netflix. The whole season is up there. Nick's episode, his run starts in episode 13. So, keep that in mind. I would recommend watching the previous episode before, to get context for, the AMC B-lister team, who, I had watched the previous episode. I had watched episode 12 before we watched episode 13. And like, I was nervous because I was watching that. I was like, fuck, these guys are good. Okay. And yeah, but then episode 13 happened. So good stuff. So anyway, that's on Netflix. Highly, highly recommend it. Congratulations to Nick and his trivia partner, Shane. Only Howard's in the Building, which got a lot of love online for its reference to Only Murders in the Building and the character of Howard. They were dressed like him and they bear a bit of a resemblance to him as well. I know that like there were celebrities and people that were posting about that. Like the actor who plays Howard posted about it, and I think on Instagram there was like a lot of comments from like the Only Murders in the Building like official like account commented on like a thread about it, and I think Jennifer Tilly like commented a lot. So it's really cool. So yeah, I told my coworkers, I was giving them like the play-by-play of each appearance of Nick, and I had told them, I was like, so me having a really smart friend, like having proof of like him being very smart, makes me smart by extension. So, so that's the real triumph of Nick's run on Pop Culture Jeopardy.
No, I mean, it is true though. Like,
yeah,
having cool friends makes you feel a bit cooler as well.
exactly.
So.
Yeah, and as a coworker pointed out, I am now 1 degree separated from Scarlett Johansson, and my coworker is now 2 degrees separated from Colin Jost. So there we go. But anyway, that's news before the reviews. Any other thoughts on Nick and Pop Culture Jeopardy, or any of the weird shit that I've said so far in this episode?
Nope. I would just, I would echo you and say, and highly recommend people watch that. You don't have to know Nick to enjoy it. It's just great TV on its own.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely check that out on Netflix.
Yeah, you don't need to know Nick to enjoy it, but you will get to know Nick, and you will. I will personally relish in the jealousy that people will get knowing that, like, we know Nick, and we get to know Nick. They only know him through Pop Culture Jeopardy. We get to know him in life. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'll, if I remember, I'll throw a link to Pop Culture Jeopardy in the show notes. But Sam, would you like to get into our feature review of the evening?
Yeah, let's venture into the back rooms.
Yes,
let's get lost.
Yes, let's do it. So Backrooms premiered in theaters on May 29th, 2026. Of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review. Then we'll play a clip from the trailer. When we come back from the trailer, we'll be spoiling it. If you want to navigate around spoilers, skip to the secondary review, whatever. Check the show notes for timestamps. Those show notes are also available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV507 and in the description of the video version of this if you're watching it. So, like I said, Backrooms premiered in theaters May 29th, 2026. The premise, according to IMDb, is after a therapist's patient disappears into a dimension beyond reality, she must venture into the unknown to save him. Director was Kane Parsons, and writer was Will Sudick, with based on the lore by Kane Parsons. And the cast includes Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renette Rinzivi, Mark Duplass, Finn Bennett, and Lukita Maxwell. So, Sam, of course, as we get into in the non-spoiler review, do you have any experience with Backrooms as a creepypasta or YouTube thing? From what I understand, I never really, got into it or anything, but the lore of it is that Backrooms started as just an anonymous post on like 4chan or whatever. That was just a picture of a liminal space like in Backrooms, and just a creepypasta thing saying like, oh, there's something in there or whatever. And then a lot of stuff kind of propped up from it in terms of like memes and different creepypasta stuff. And then Kane Parsons started making YouTube videos and shorts under the name of Kane Pixels, I believe. And he apparently was like the best at doing that, and created all of this like lore and mystery, and created this idea of like of a group that's like a science lab that's trying to figure out, or a company that's trying to figure out the Backrooms and stuff. So there's a rich history and lore. And now we have a feature film from Kane Parsons, who is like 20, 21. Yeah. So with that preamble, what did you think of Backrooms, Sam?
Well, I've actually been in the Backrooms.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I think I heard about it originally like in a very passive way, just kind of browsing the internet, reading about it. I didn't really become aware of the lore until the Kane Parsons short films started receiving some publicity. I feel like at one point, the original, the first Backrooms video received a lot of attention and was kind of spreading around the internet. And I watched that and was very impressed. It, is a very simple found footage exploration of the Backrooms setting. And basically at some point, a robot monster starts following the camera person. And it has some decent scares in it. Like it's a really solid piece of found footage work. And I had seen one other Backrooms video that kind of delved into the world a bit more. And that world, which like you said, it started as a photo of a real place. I don't know if anyone has a clear like location where that photo was taken, but it's thought to be of a renovated furniture store or but anyway, the Backrooms videos were created with a software program called Blender. So the Backrooms setting is actually computer generated. So to me, one of the main appeals of a feature-length film version was the idea of going from CGI sets to practical sets.
Yeah.
I think I read that the sets in this took up like 30,000 square feet.
That's wild.
And and it was just this like incredible labyrinthian set. So I was really excited to see that in terms of the translation from the YouTube series to an A24 feature film.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I was really looking forward to this, and I totally loved it.
Nice. It's hard not to compare this with Obsession. I know that that's kind of the hot thing to do on the internet now, is like these two movies from two young filmmakers who like made their name on like YouTube and making like shorts and stuff, have both come out with these high profile horror movie feature films from big like distributors. So it's maybe not terribly fair to compare them in my eyes, because I will say I liked Obsession more, but Backrooms, like I really, really enjoyed this movie. I was really impressed with Kane Parsons, his like handle of mood and tone, and like having a command of the tension in such a way that this movie has a few like very extended sequences. Like they feel like certain sequences in this movie feel like full on, like it could be its own self-contained YouTube short. And I say that as a compliment. Like it holds your attention. It has the feel of like immersion in a way that isn't just like having us go through this labyrinth of the back rooms and everything. It's like you're invested in the tension that's unfolding and rising throughout each sequence. And I really liked that. And I think that it really it's the kind of thing that makes me excited to see where Kane Parsons goes from here. Like if he's going to keep doing Backrooms movies, which there was a point in this movie where I was like, oh, this could be like the next, this property. And I hate to be this person, but like, this property could be like the new like VHS series or Saw or Paranormal Activity, like a yearly feature length like movie set in this universe, because it can be anything. It's like it's a sandbox. Like it can be anything, it can do anything, and I find that really compelling and interesting. And I that was something that stuck out to me, but I had this feeling throughout it, which is this was my personal experience, taking my personal history into account. Like, longtime listeners will know that years ago, at this point, it was, oh, Jesus. No, it's like 15 years ago or so. From 2006 to 2015, Tiny and I were security guards for a security company that no longer exists. We worked in an office building. For several years, Tiny and I worked the night shift, midnight to 8. And this was in like our 20s. And like, I was afraid of things. I was afraid of the dark, basically. Like, it's a dark office building with nobody in there. And like, the lights are off. It's spooky. It's creepy. And like, man, I was taken back to that time in my life when watching Backrooms, and I was thinking like, oh man, this is a movie that I would purposely not bring to watch on my laptop while working third shift and as a security guard. And it's also the type of movie that, similar to like a Paranormal Activity movie or reading The Shining or, you know, any number of other things, it's the kind of movie that if I were a night shift security guard again, I would be terrified going through the building after seeing this movie, because it's such of a mood of disorientation. Like a lot of the backroom set is by design, like an empty like office space. Like it feels dated because the movie is set in the 90s, and you have like the creepiness, the eeriness of those like fluorescent lights, and having like runs of like furniture and like office furniture and just other furniture that's like melted into the floor, and like these abstract things. It's really, really immersive. And I just thought like, oh man, if I was walking through a building at night, patrolling it as a security guard in my 20s, I would be working so hard not to think about this freaking movie and scaring myself. And I think that's a high compliment to Kane Parsons.
Yeah, that's really funny. And it makes me realize that a major strength of the movie is that the scares don't come from a monster or a villainous character. The scares come from just the eeriness of the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really interesting, and that kind of makes it stand out. Just the idea of a world that you can endlessly explore and get sucked into like a black hole and get lost in. Like, that's really unsettling.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the things that I was kind of, I guess, I'm not nervous about, but I was kind of curious about going into it, was the thing that struck me about the trailer. Because again, I hadn't seen any of the YouTube stuff, nothing like I wasn't too familiar with like the lore of Backrooms or anything. But the thing that stood out to me in the trailer when I first saw it was, this isn't necessarily about, it's not about characters like just stumbling into this weird world and getting lost or what have you. It's like, the thing that stood out to me was like Chiwetel Ejiofor's character is drawn to it and he's interested in it. He's kind of studying it in a way. And that piqued my interest, because I'm all for like character driven stuff like that. And the thing that I really kind of honed in on in this movie was the fact that he is this kind of, he's just like this lonesome guy who like he has like a past relationship that didn't work out. He runs this furniture store that's just kind of not successful or anything. And so he latches on to into this like backroom stuff. And I thought that was a really interesting angle to explore the character. And like I said, there like I had this stupid thought while watching it. Like in my head, I was like, oh man, you know, he's like, he has this struggling furniture store. I'm like, you know, a lot of the furniture and stuff is fused together in the back rooms, but there's some that's like loose. Like he like picks up a chair at one point. I'm like, man, go through, like you've got free inventory, like just like bam, like you can sell that stuff, and you know it's free for you. Like you can sell it and make a profit. So yeah.
That's really funny. One of the things about his fascination with the back rooms that interested me is that, and this may sound like kind of a stretch, especially since the movie takes place in the 90s, but his fascination with it kind of reminded me of people's attraction to AI.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the back rooms presents a version of reality that is a little wonky, a little off. It recreates reality in, you know, it reminds you of things like he walks in and he feels like he's in some kind of office building that he's seen before. He sees, he's like drawn to the familiarity of it at first, but then it's revealed to be kind of distorted and strange. I feel like that we get the same thing with AI.
Yeah.
You know, we prompt it to recreate a piece of reality and it spits back something. And initially we go, oh, that's kind of cool. That kind of looks like this. It kind of looks like what I had in mind, but it's off. It's distorted. It's a little inhuman.
Yes.
And the fact that he kind of likes that made me feel the way I feel about people who like AI.
Right.
It's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Exactly.
So, and that might be best left to talk about in spoilers, but I wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Oh, I totally agree that the imagery of like the design of the back rooms, that liminal space, is so interesting because it definitely pays a lot of homage to like MC Escher paintings, like that just incongruous leveling and weird placement of things. And like I said, the furniture and the things that are kind of fused into the floor, it's so interesting because it's like a regular floor, but it has the look of like quicksand that's been frozen in time and solid. And it's just so interesting to see that kind of like set decoration and that art direction that's done practically in this movie. And when you get to the point where it is really like creating these weird things that look kind of like something, but is just completely askew, like it absolutely feels like that kind of weird uncanny valley that AI presents to you, which I found interesting because Kane Parsons has come out and said something like he's fervently anti-AI, which that warmed my soul a bit when I saw that headline. But yeah, and I really thought this movie does such a great job, not to get like too far ahead into spoilers or anything by any stretch, but this movie does such a great job of creating an interest in the back rooms and the lore, but not going too deep into it. Not going into too many avenues of just like figuring out like what this means or what this is or what's behind this or who's behind this. Like, you come out of this movie with probably as many questions as you did going in about the Backrooms, and that's how I want this type of experience to play out, because what the answers that we do get are from the perspective of Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, Clark, and it's from his perspective of what he wants out of the Backrooms. Like, we get this amazing exposition dump of a monologue from him that is somewhat kind of recreated a bit later in the movie in a different context. But I like when I was watching that, it's a therapy session that he has with his therapist, and they're doing like a role play exercise where he is talking to a version of his ex who left him. And the dialogue there and Chiwetel Ejiofor's performance there is so good. Like, I was sitting there thinking like, oh yeah, that's why you get Chiwetel Ejiofor for this role. Like, he sold that just anger and self, very, very selfish sort of position, while really on the page, a lot of it is just like, oh, this is what happened in his last relationship. This is information that we need. And he's delivering it in such a way that's like, it's a frightening scene itself. Like, the energy and the performance there is just incredible. And yeah, I love that that's where we get more lore and depth into the movie, is through his experience with his life and everything. And not necessarily with any answers about what the Backrooms are or who created them or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, and I think that scene could easily be dismissed, but it's actually kind of crucial to the rest of the movie, because in that scene, his therapist asks him to kind of recreate this moment from his past, and what comes out is much different than probably how the situation played out in the past.
Right.
And and that ties back into this theme of, you know, the more we try to recreate our reality, the more distorted it becomes.
Yes.
And the Backrooms is like a metaphor for that.
I feel so dumb because I didn't connect it with that too much, but that is great. That's such a good observation. I love that, because that's exactly right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh man. In that, like, when we talk about like the therapist, she did a good job. She was really compelling and everything. I feel like the script could have been a little bit more revealing about her backstory, because I left it kind of confused about what was going on with her, like what was real, what wasn't. Like, it was very kind of disorienting, and I feel like it was a little too light on shedding light on her backstory and everything. But honestly, that might be like one of the only real like complaints or criticisms I have about the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen more of her backstory, because I was really getting into it, like, as the flashbacks were playing out. Yeah. And it also comments on like kind of the architecture of her childhood home in an interesting way. Yeah. Like the way that it starts to reflect how the Backrooms look. Like you see that her mother is like kind of a hoarder, and that kind of enriches the images of things piled up in the Backrooms. Yeah. Kind of creates an emotional tie to it because of the way it reflects her mother's hoarding. So I thought that was interesting, but it just gives you like a little taste of it. I wanted a bit more, but I think also what I loved about this movie is like how mysterious everything remained. Like even in the end, like you don't really get many clear-cut explanations, and I think that's what ultimately keeps it so creepy, is like you kind of leave the theater thinking like, what was that?
Oh, totally. And I think you just keyed into something that is a fundamental misunderstanding that I had with the movie regarding the therapist, because we can expand on that in spoilers a bit, but I'm suddenly realizing that I think that I misread that entire thing as something else. So we'll put a pin in that and talk about that in spoilers, but I think if I go and revisit this again, I might have a stronger opinion of it, because my read of it was something that wasn't fully explained to me, and now I think I'm understanding that I just completely misread what it was as something else. So I think that there might be, I'm being vague, but I feel like there might be something more to it that I just didn't see, and I'm very curious to see it again now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I also, if you don't mind, I want to just bring up one point.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Kind of the setting itself. Our friend Brent Luthold wrote a review of this, and I thought he made a really excellent point about how the movie makes you reflect on places like back in the peak of COVID, these places, including movie theaters, being abandoned, and it actually reminded me of how, one of our Indianapolis landmarks, the Circle Center Mall, just closed.
Yeah.
And how the Backrooms kind of taps into that fear of like the world fading away, like your sense of familiarity fading away.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I just wanted to kind of give props to Brent for that.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I need to read Brent's review. For the listeners at awakeinthedark.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. But yeah, that it's so interesting to me, and that kind of leads me to kind of an abstract kind of thought that I'm going to throw out here. It is tied to the movie, but it's loosely tied. But that's such an interesting point, because like even today, very randomly, I don't know why, but I very randomly just started thinking about my high school. I have not been to that high school in 21 years. I will likely never have a reason to go back to it for any reason. But I found myself thinking about it, and like for a brief moment when I was really, really fighting this urge to not want to work, because I was working, I was trying to think, like, can I remember the layout of this building? Like, can I walk, like in my mind, can I walk through this building and it be the same, like, or will my memory be hazy with it? And I think part of that is that I do have dreams about it because it's just in my memory banks, and it's always distorted and weird. But it was just a weird thought experiment. But that leads me to think, or that leads me to posit this. I saw somewhere, I can't remember, I can't give credit to who pointed this out, but someone somewhere online pointed out that the idea of like creepypasta and like having these like creepy writings that pop up on the internet is, they likened it to like, it's the modern generation's like version of folklore or like urban myths, like Slender Man and the Backrooms and stuff. And I found that to be so interesting to think about, because it's easy to be a curmudgeonly old person. I say that 22 days away from turning 40. Not that I'm counting. But it's so easy to be a curmudgeonly old person and be like, oh, this is from the YouTubes, and the young whippersnappers, they don't understand, Washington Irving and the Headless Horseman, they've got their Slender Man. That's ridiculous. But I think that that's so interesting to think about how, like, the internet has given rise to a different type of urban myth and like spooky story generating thing that has been, like, I feel goofy saying it every time, but creepypasta. Any thoughts on the cultural significance of creepypasta, and what's your favorite kind of pasta?
Like angel hair.
Nice.
That what you just said I thought was really fascinating. And I think, it made me think, like, that Backrooms photo, the original photo, like, without the internet and the ability to spread that through the internet, like, obviously we wouldn't have the Backrooms.
Right.
So it is, the internet is like it's kind of this incredible, like, modern storytelling device and, like, way of creating mythology that we used to do, in caves around a fire.
Yeah.
Like, now we do behind a keyboard and a screen and you can get lost in the internet and really go down a deep rabbit hole, like, and kind of remember and reconnect to places that you weren't able to before. Like, through Facebook, I've connected to friends from, like, second grade. And through YouTube, I've found videos, like, video tours of my old, like, junior high school. And, like, it was kind of a way of, like, it was kind of like a means of time travel, like, like walking through, my old junior high or my old high school again. I'm kind of rambling now, but
no, you're good.
But I mean, and, like, I think that's what Backrooms is trying to tap into, that kind of eerie feeling of like desperately trying to reconnect to your past and, like, find, go back to this reality that will never fully be there the way you knew it. I could go back to my high school and try to recreate the experience of being there, but things are probably different. Like,
oh yeah,
it's probably a little off from how I remember it. The people there have gotten older. They're, there are things I don't recognize. Like, I think Backrooms kind of taps into that, like, existential fear of the world you knew kind of fading before your eyes.
Well said. 100%. And
thank you.
Yeah, I find, like, it's funny because I came out of Backrooms thinking, like, okay, yeah, I still like Obsession more because I felt like Obsession was deeper and richer and had more to say. But, like, talking this out with you, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, Backrooms has a lot more to say than I gave it credit for. And that's really fascinating. And also, yeah, I could go back to my high school, and everything would be different. Everything would be different too. I would still be like, I would basically go back there and be as awkwardly, like, I would still be. I would feel awkward talking to people, which would be absolutely the same as I was in high school. But it's just weird to think that Like, and this is a slight like off topic thing, but it's so weird to think like Tiny still lives in my hometown, Speedway. I live on the north side of I'm 20 minutes away. But he's involved with the town of Speedway. Like he works with the Lions Club and the town proper. And he sent me a message that was like a picture of, I think it was his and my history or social studies teacher from high school and my 4th grade teacher in elementary school, who they were both retiring. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that Mr. Locke was still teaching. And it was just so weird to think that, and that brought me down to a rabbit hole where I was like, oh my God, people that taught me are retiring. And then I thought about how a guy that I knew in high school who was a few grades above me is the vice principal of the junior high now. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. That was, I don't know. And then they'll all be weird mashups of them in the back rooms when I fall into them randomly one day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing is I don't know. I guess you could say a lot of these metaphors are kind of on the nose. The world is a maze that kind of grows more labyrinthian in our minds, and things fade and become distorted as we grow older and we explore more of the world. That's kind of what I loved about it.
Yeah,
it reminded me of Eraserhead in the sense that I think a lot of the points that movie makes are kind of obvious too. The alien baby obviously represents kind of the fear of parenthood and a fear of how your kids will turn out. And that's kind of on the nose, but it's also that's exciting. Metaphors are cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I feel Eraserhead has this kind of student film spirit to it. And I feel this movie has that too. It's just I don't know, I found something kind of exciting about the metaphorical use of the back rooms, even though it may be kind of obvious.
It's interesting. It might be a little obvious there, like you said, but I think that's what I find so interesting about this movie, is that it is kind of straightforward and obvious in that case, but I think it's more predicated on how we interpret it or how we experience it. So we put in what we have in our lives into the movie when we watch it, and we have our reactions to it are, tied to how we're feeling at that given time and that given point in our life. I even thought on my way to the theater, I was thinking oh man, so, as I'm getting older and more self-reflective and everything, I'm curious if that's what Chiwetel Ejiofor's character is going through, because, just from what I saw in the trailer, and there was a little bit of that, and I kind of latched onto that. But I feel I've seen some reactions to it, or I've heard about people not liking it because they don't get too much information or answers about the back rooms, and that was never a concern for me. Not 1 second. I was very much just invested the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that you kind of bring your own emotional weight to it. It's the back rooms are kind of this blank canvas for you to project your own life onto. And
yes,
and I think that's why it actually I've read some criticisms that the characters are a bit thinly sketched, and I think that I think that's fine, because I think you like kind of a thinly sketched character allows you to kind of project yourself onto them and like kind of step in their shoes. It reminds me of something I think Jim Carrey said about Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name. Like, he's called the Man with No Name so you can fill in your own. Nice. And that's kind of how I felt about these characters. Like, they had just a hint of a backstory, like enough for you to latch onto, but they were kind of the perfect, like, eyes and ears for the audience.
Totally. And I've got to reach out to Kane Parsons and figure out why, like, one of the points in the back rooms with like all the furniture that's fused together and stuff, I need to reach out to him and find out why he made that look exactly like my parents fighting. So Kane, if you're listening, reach out to me. We got to talk, buddy.
No, I mean, that's funny, but the movie is sort of like a Rorschach test.
Totally.
Like...
Oh yeah. Something else about just the kind of architecture of it and everything, or the structure of the movie itself. Like I said before, there are segments that go on for a long time that feel like they are like it's propulsive and tension filled, and it's great. And a couple of those segments, like a few of those moments in the movie, are like found footage. It's from the perspective of a camcorder. Like we said, this takes place in the 90s. I found in the year of our Lord 2026, where we've seen every version of found footage. And not to say that this breaks any mold. This doesn't, like, in terms of the found footage stuff, it's found footage filmed. But I was impressed with how the movie just economizes the use of the found footage. Like, it never overstays its welcome. It's not the predominant style of filmmaking in this movie. It just comes when it needs to, and then it switches over to conventional filmmaking at just like the right moments that it needs to. And I thought that was a really good view into Kane Parsons' directorial style, I would assume, or what I would hope his directorial style will come to be. That he knows when to pull back, when to push forward. He knows when to, like, he had a very strong command of the tone of this movie that was evident throughout the entire time, and especially in how he utilizes certain techniques and certain techniques without being tropish or overdoing it or relying on it even.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I when it started delving into found footage, I did worry a bit and think like, oh, well, is this just going to become like the original Backrooms videos? And, you know, not really, like, we won't get to see like the vivid detail of the practical sets because everything's kind of blurry and like found footagey. And I was like, I really hope that's not the case. And thankfully it's not. And, you know, there is one sequence where a character's running through quite a bit of the back rooms and going from one very different looking location to another, and it's like, I think it might be like a long uninterrupted take of her running through, but like, that's really exciting. That's an exciting example of just the detail in the practical sets. And she gets to a place in the back rooms that, like really gives you vertigo and
Yes.
is really exciting to witness. Yeah, I totally agree. I think stylistically it's really exciting to watch.
Totally. Should we go into spoilers? Because I feel like we've talked about everything we can in non-spoiler.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nice. Okay. So before we go into spoilers, of course, for the listeners, we will play a clip from the trailer and then go to spoilers. If you want to skip around that, check the show notes or description for timestamps to skip around spoilers. But before we go into spoilers, Sam, what did you rate this on Letterboxd, and does it have a chance of hitting your top 10?
I went with 4 out of 5 stars. I am seeing it again this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So we'll see if that changes. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this with every movie we talk about, though. I get really excited about it, and I want to rate it higher. So I don't know. We'll see if it bumps up to 4.5 this weekend.
Nice. I am right there with you. I rated it 4 stars. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a great like horror experience in the movies, and it's the first of what I hope is a very promising career for Kane Parsons. I will see it again at some point. I'm very eager to, especially after talking about it like we have, but I could see it going up to 4.5. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and go into spoilers for Backrooms. You can follow us on Letterboxd. Sam is Sam Movie Man, and I am Obsessive Viewer on Letterboxd, respectively. So we're going to go ahead and go into spoilers. I'm going to play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling Backrooms, if we come back. So here's a clip from the trailer, and yeah, stay tuned.
I found a place.
Hello? Anyone there?
Okay, and spoilers on for Backrooms. Sam, I want to get something off my chest. I want us to dive into the to Mary's character, the therapist. My understanding of her whole arc in the movie, I think, was completely wrong based on what you said in the non-spoilers. So I thought that she had a daughter and her daughter died and she was upset over that, or like she carried that baggage. But from what I'm getting from what you were saying, those were her childhood scenes, and her mother was like very controlling and had the like the house was demolished and like all of that was her childhood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I completely misread the movie. I thought it was her and her child, and I thought like, oh, her kid's dead. And that's going to be like a trauma thing for her, and like maybe it's going to end with her like loving the Backrooms because she can be with her daughter again.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I will fully admit I was completely wrong in that case. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so her mother was mentally ill, and there's a moment where you see like flies swarming around in the home, and you see that stuff is kind of piled up, kind of a hoarder situation, and she won't let the young Mary go outside. So kind of a perfect, the Backrooms is kind of a perfect metaphor for her being trapped and lost, and I and there is a moment where her childhood home seems to like transform into the back rooms, and you see how the architecture has changed. So yeah, I thought all of that was really creepy and effective.
Yeah, I am now thinking it's very creepy and effective. And it makes me very anxious to see it again, because I completely misread that. But that's interesting. Like, granted, I'm going off of my initial thoughts being completely misreading it, but talking it out and getting like actual clarity on what it is, that's such an interesting kind of contrast to Clark's experience. Because they're both missing something in their life. They've both lost something. He's trying to kind of, I don't know if he's necessarily trying to reclaim it, but he's like living in that like anger that he feels about it. And she is more just kind of living with the pain of a very not good childhood and everything. I don't know what point I'm making with that, because again, I just learned that this subplot existed 3 minutes ago, but I do find it interesting to see the way that those two characters kind of intersect in interesting ways, or the way that they interact with the Backrooms, given their individual backstories, and how that colors their experience in there.
Yeah, and as a therapist, she has this whole like self-help program, the window within, and you can see how that's a reflection of how she was like literally trapped in her childhood, like wasn't allowed to leave the home. So she came up with this kind of corny metaphor of like opening the window within, and like Clark is what's funny about him, and kind of a challenge for her as his therapist, is like he doesn't really want to leave. It doesn't seem like he wants to leave the furniture store, and by the end of the movie it doesn't really seem like he wants to leave the back rooms either.
Right.
So, and I was talking with our friend and colleague Mitch about this, and he said that his character kind of reminded him of Jack Nicholson's in The Shining near the end. How he, kind of accepted where he was. So yeah, I'll leave it there before I start rambling.
Oh no, you're good. I definitely got a lot of Kubrick and Shining vibes from this for sure. I am also going to go ahead and really, I'm just going to, much like the therapist's childhood home, I'm going to demolish any credibility I have on this podcast. The Window Within. There's a moment in this movie where Craig leaves a voicemail on the answering machine, I guess, for the therapist, saying he's going through the window and he's not coming back. I did not connect that with the Window Within metaphor or anything. I was thinking like, oh, this is going to go a route where like it's a time dilation thing. Like she's going to go in and it's going to be like they have this adventure in there and there's going to be a window and he's not going to go through it, but then he's going to go through it after she's gone and he's going to get I thought it was going to be a whole thing, but no, it was a metaphor.
No, it's okay. I mean, like, I think that's the beauty of this movie is like you could probably find new stuff in it.
Totally.
When reflecting on it or seeing it again, like I'm sure there's, many more layers to this onion.
Totally.
But
something I did pick up on that I really enjoyed toward the end of the movie was I feel like the character, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, Craig, he kind of comes full circle a little bit, like after his death. Because when she's running through the back rooms after the pirate guy has killed him, she gets into like the store, and it's really interesting because like it's a fake out, like, okay, is she really home or is she really there? But no. And like they have all of these like these tanks and everything, like it's like dangerous and everything. But the thing that I honed in on was that everything else in the back rooms is weird, off kilter, very disorienting and everything. But the furniture store area is like there's nothing too weird or out of touch. It's like it seems like the most accurate recreation for the back rooms to do. And I found that interesting because it means that, you know, Craig spends all of his time there. That's where his sharpest memory is, because we see him watching TV in the bed at night, in the store. And like, I think that just speaks to the just complete lonely isolation of Craig as a character. That's why he's so drawn to the back rooms. He's like isolated himself so much in the store, for no real like benefit, because he's not, for the short time that he has access to it, he's not taking all of the free inventory he has. But he's like, that the Backrooms is able to recreate the furniture store almost exactly as it is, because he spends all of his time there and it's in his memory bank and in such a clear way. And I thought that was a nice subtle touch, if that was the intention.
That is an excellent point.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered until now. Yeah,
nice.
That's a great point.
Does it redeem me for the completely like misreads that I've done?
Oh, totally.
Nice.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And it kind of, that's a really interesting idea that the back rooms, its clearest recreations are reflections of where you are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like what stage of life you're in. And the fact that the clearest recreation it creates is this sad furniture store.
Yeah.
Like that's really unsettling, and I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the very tragic employees that he has, that he conscripts to go into the back rooms with him, and they are just dealt with in very bad ways. They don't make it out. I thought that was one of the more almost conventional horror moments, but in a good way. I also wanted to point out that another subtle thing that this movie does is there are a couple of moments where, as he's wandering through, like he sees the cardboard cutout that has like a voice kind of thing that plays on a loop, that it's in, I think, French. And then later he is going through and he finds that dark room with the Christmas tree and the like puppet guy. And that's like the decorations are playing like Feliz Navidad. And I thought that was so interesting as a way to subtly like just kind of put it in our brains that like, oh, this is a vast place, because like you're hearing French language stuff, and then you're hearing like Spanish Christmas jingles, and like I don't think that that's saying anything. I just think that that's like an interesting thing to subconsciously like get us thinking like, oh, international, like, oh my god, so this goes like really far. I thought that was an interesting like technique to throw into the mix. And also the employees getting killed was cool.
That is really interesting. And it kind of, in terms of like noticing little things like that within the setting, this is, I think the movie's really effective in making you kind of constantly scan the screen
Mhm.
and try to find, little clues or like spooky things that may unlock,
Oh yeah.
what's going on. But there was one scene that like really messed with my head,
Nice.
where the young guy Bobby
Mhm.
is walking among these piles of laundry, and I could have
Yes.
sworn I saw a head.
Me too.
Okay, good. I'm not
Yes.
crazy.
Oh yeah, that was so cool. That was so freaking cool. Yep.
Yeah, I'm so glad you saw it too, because I was like, did I see what I think I saw?
Right?
And I thought, even if that wasn't there, just the fact that I thought it was, like, that shows how effective the movie is.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that was so creepy, and the way that it's done it's not like a conventional like jump scare or anything, because like we're questioning whether it's there or not. Like it's
Right.
all in service of the tone in the atmosphere of that scene, which is it's such an interesting scene. Like that whole sequence is really interesting because it's him going down this like slope, and he like they do the whole tie it to the bedpost thing, and like he's like working his way down. But I love the way that Clark is already like unhinged in that moment. Like he knows he's putting these kids in like mortal jeopardy. But he's so drawn to the Backrooms that he needs to like he any means necessary. He needs to figure out what's going on, or he needs the data basically. So it's a really cool sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I love how, like they think he drugged them.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of humor there. Like,
Mhm.
That was a great sequence.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Mark Duplass? He's in a couple of scenes in the movie. We get like this somewhat exposition dump that very cleverly doesn't have much exposition. We see him as this guy that's monitoring the Backrooms, and then he kind of just has a conversation with Mary at the end, and it's just like that. Again, I hate to be this guy, like this franchise guy or whatever, but like it felt like this is the ending to the first part of a multi-part like series of movies that I hope would never get too deep into the lore of like what the Backrooms are. Just using it as a sandbox to just have all of these wacky, crazy horror things that is just at the whims of the director's imagination. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I think his like big scene near the end, I think some people will hate.
Yeah.
And that's fine. To each their own.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how vague it was. And I think that's kind of the point. Like, he's a scientist who's been there for years. And yet he's asking a woman who just got to the Backrooms, he's asking her to explain it.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
100%. Yep.
So like I think the vagueness, like that is the point. Like he says, we've been here for years and years studying this. We need to know just a little bit more. Yeah. And like I almost laughed at that because it's a perfect reflection of how like none of us can really explain life either. Like even people older than us, when we ask them to explain the world, they basically say what Mark Duplass says, which is, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what you thought about that monologue, because I thought him ending it with basically like we've been here for years and years. You explain it. I thought that was just great.
Yeah, the potential there is so rich. Like, because we don't know what, I think it's async is all about. Like, just from that, we just know that they're all about the backrooms, all about figuring out the backrooms. We don't know what is funding them. We don't know anything about like what their whole deal is. And I think that that's so smart because of the vagueness of it all. Like, they could be trying to militarize it, or they're trying to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's just so, it's such a testament to like the power of like this concept that the backrooms are so powerful that, you know, people who have like the resources to really map it out and try to figure out what's going on have not the slightest clue what they're dealing with. And I find that so interesting. And it's like, it's right in my wheelhouse, because there is like, there's a concept in Stephen King books, and in particular, like the Dark Tower series called Toadash Space. That's the like kind of nether world between worlds. It's like in the Mist. It's where the monsters from the Mist come from. It's from Toadash Space. But anyway, like that is something that is just so, I'm so keyed into, and I'm so glad that this movie is so vague about it, and so just like makes it so malleable to us watching it that it can be anything that, you know, we can imagine it to be. Not that the movie is making us do any work. It's just letting us put ourselves into it in unique ways.
Well said.
Thank you. I had to mute myself to burp. Anyway.
I guess real quickly, what did you think of the basically the pirate monster version of Clark?
You know, I thought that was cool. I really liked it. It was disturbing when it got to the point where it was, you know, killing him. It reminded me a lot of Andy Muschietti's work. And in particular, I know that this is kind of closer to one of his earlier movies that I haven't seen, but like It Chapter 1, like the lady in the painting that's going after Stu, not Stu, Stanley. Like it just reminded me of that kind of like morphed like features and weirdness that feels like practical and weird and not like computer generated, and not, it felt very real and visceral. It also reminded me of some of the like creature effects in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which we'll talk about another one of that filmmaker's movies. So yeah, it was very welcome, because it very much felt like other good horror things while being its own interesting thing. What did you think of it?
Well said. Yeah, I liked it too. I liked that, you know, it wasn't computer generated. I totally agree. That's a great comparison to that creature in It. Thanks. And also, like, it's just kind of a great excuse for the Mary character to run all around the back rooms.
Oh yeah.
Like when she ends up in that sort of like high-rise structure,
yes,
of like all these different windows leading to different areas. That was just an incredible image.
Yes. I love, and A24 is kind of using that as some of the marketing. Like I saw a TikTok or something, like they posted on social media, just like a wide shot from like where she's, like, I think it's from where like she's standing. So you see like the massive structure of the windows and everything. And it's like, you just see a person in the distance on the ground, like closing a door and walking away. And like the caption was something silly, like, "Oh, come back to the back rooms," or something like that. But I'm like what, like just seeing that and remembering it and seeing like just the scale of it it's so cool. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, that's another sequence I'm eager to watch again.
Oh yeah.
because that was really exciting. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Backrooms?
I totally agree with you. I think this could be like a yearly horror franchise. I'd love to see other filmmakers takes on it. I'd love to see other stories set within this world. I really loved it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I loved it too. I'm very eager to see what Kane Parsons does next. I'm curious if he will, like we've talked about, it could be like, a yearly thing or whatever. Like, I'd be content with him just making backroom stuff for his entire career. But do you what would you like? Would you like to see him branch out and do other like horror stuff or other stuff in general? Like, he's a young dude. He's going to be, hopefully working for a while. What would you like to see next from Kane Parsons?
Yeah, and I guess I'll touch a little bit on some of the backlash. I've seen like some people theorizing that, there's no way he could have made this. And I'll remind them that, Sam Raimi was only 20 or 21 when he made The Evil Dead, so they can shove it.
And I forgot to plug this at the top, but here in a couple of days I will be on the Odd Trilogies podcast with our friends Andy and Logan, and it's the rise of Spielberg. So like they had me on to review the first 3 movies from Spielberg that he made when he was like in his early 20s, and like I feel like there's a big, like, we were talking before recording about aging and everything, and like how as I've talked about and I keep talking about, I'm about to turn 40. But I feel like there's such a weird like jealousy or curmudgeon thing. Like the people who, I feel like the people who would claim that like, there's no way that he actually directed it. Mark Duplass is in it and produced it. He clearly directed it. Like, no, don't try to poltergeist this. You're just mad because this guy is like 20, 21 and he made this very effective horror movie. And like, I feel like there's something to be said about that being like, the same people who would complain about that or think that way are probably by and large the same people who would say like, oh, creepypasta, what's that? Oh no, we used to tell our stories around a campfire, not on 4chan, whatever that is, this hacker 4chan. So I just feel like that's a specific group of people online who could do with not being just completely obnoxious about, the next generation of filmmakers. I don't know.
Yeah, well said again.
Thank
you. But in terms of my hopes for him, I would love to see him just do more backroom stuff, but I'd also love to see him branch out and, do other things. I think this movie does have an effective story. It's not just like a trip through the back rooms.
Right.
I'd love to see him, do something narratively different. And yeah,
absolutely. Well, we can't wait to see what happens next with Kane Parsons and his filmmaking. I think that'll do it for our review of Backrooms. Any final thoughts, Sam, or should we start to transition over to the passenger seat?
I'm ready to get in the passenger seat.
All right. Well, it's only one seat, so we're going to have to sit on each other's laps. We'll flip a coin. So that is our review of Backrooms. It is currently in theaters. Again, you can follow both of us on Letterboxd. Sam is at Sam Movie Man, and I am at Obsessive Viewer. Also check out Sam's work on MidwestFilmJournal.com, and be on the lookout for my guest appearance on Odd Trilogies as well. So we're going to go ahead and go into the secondary review, but before that, I want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I occasionally post short form content as well as full video versions of the podcast and occasional live streams of the shows. It's free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Maybe I'll do more. Maybe I'll be the next Kane Parsons, I don't know where that's going, but anyway, you can check all that out on YouTube, link in the show notes. And now back to the show.
Tell me I view obsessively.
And for tonight's secondary review, we're going to be sharing our thoughts on Passenger, which is a new horror movie from André Øvredal. It was released in theaters May 22nd, 2026, and I think we're going to do a non-spoiler review, so I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be sharing our non-spoiler review of Passenger, so stay tuned.
Make it quick.
Dude, give me 1 minute.
Yo! Daniel?
Okay, and now on to the non-spoiler secondary review. Passenger, the premise, according to IMDb, is after a young couple witnesses a gruesome highway accident, they soon realize they did not leave the crash scene alone, as a demonic presence called the Passenger won't stop until it claims them both. Once again, this was directed by André Øvredal, who previously directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which we referenced earlier. And writers for this movie was Zachary Donahue and T.W. Burgess, and the cast includes Jacob Scipio, Lou Lobel, Melissa Leo, and Joseph Lopez. So, Sam, let's talk about Passenger. The movie had such an effective teaser for me that I was excited about it. And even to the point where going to the theater, I was like, I actually don't know anything outside of the actual teaser about this movie. I didn't know anything about the couple, anything about its like narrative about van life or what have you. I knew nothing about this movie. And I was talking to Sam before we recorded. It's good that the one thing that I did know about it was at the beginning of the movie, because I missed it. So full caveat for this review, I missed the first 5 minutes of the movie because apparently the theater didn't have trailers, or only had 1 or 2 trailers before, because I walked in and the theater was dark. I was 10 minutes late, but usually it's 20 to 30 minutes, and I missed the beginning of the movie. So I'm traumatized by that. And this these 3 scratch marks on my car. But anyway, Sam, what did you think of Passenger? Let's talk about it in non-spoilers.
Well, it's a shame that you missed the beginning, because it's arguably the best part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, though, that I did enjoy the rest of the movie.
Nice.
I don't know, man. I'm such a sucker for this kind of movie,
Mm-hmm.
a couple being terrorized by a demonic presence, kind of a road chase thriller. I'm a sucker for that. Jen, my wife Jen said that she found a review that described this as a Hallmark ass horror movie. Because, and that's a really funny description because it follows this couple trying to like live this nomadic lifestyle on the road, and it does have kind of a Hallmark romance quality to it. So I had fun with that Hallmark romance being interrupted by this demonic horror. This isn't a great movie, but I had fun with it. I thought the passenger, like the look of the passenger character was pretty cool, pretty creepy. I think that this has some surprisingly cool set pieces. Like there's a scene where the couple is watching Roman Holiday on a projector on a blanket out in the forest, and they use the projector as basically as a flashlight later on, and you can like see images of like Gregory Peck like displayed across the forest. And I thought that was like a surprisingly cool image for this kind of horror movie, like a cooler image than this movie deserves, really, because it's, you know, it's kind of trashy horror. I don't know. I had fun with it.
I'm so happy to hear that for you, Sam. I really didn't like this movie, and it's funny because I don't even attribute that to me missing the first 5 or so minutes. Because from what I understand, I know those first, like for the most part, those first 5 or so minutes, because that's the teaser trailer essentially. So I had this weird mental like gymnastics or like mental wrestling that I had where I was thinking like, okay, I can leave. I can just leave. I have A-list. It's not going to cost me any money. I did get concessions, but you know, I can eat these pretzel bites and drink this Mr. Pibb, you know, and still get my money's worth for that. I don't need to be in the theater for that. But as the theater started filling up, which by the way, other people came in late. So like, it's, you know, it's not like no one in the theater was on time. So maybe they also thought that they had 25 minutes. But anyway, so there were moments throughout this movie where I was like, I can leave. I can get some work done at home. I can watch something. I can do anything else. But then as I started to realize like, oh, the teaser was probably the beginning part. And I got in right when it said 2 weeks later and at the introduction of the two characters. And I realized like, oh, I'm not missing really any. I don't think I'm missing any real backstory with these characters in this opening moment. And here's the thing, I will say, I'll do a compliment sandwich. That projector scene was great. It was Gregory impeccable. Like I was like, it felt like it was from a completely different movie. Like it was very, very engaging, very cool. And now the negative part of the compliment sandwich. If anyone listening or watching or what have you is to question like, oh, okay, well, Matt got in late and like he was also kind of too stupid to realize some of the subplots of Backrooms. Maybe he missed some like vital backstory or something in Passenger. No, I didn't, because they tell you directly, like almost directly to the screen. They like any thought that the characters are having are just spelled out in the most straightforward dialogue. Like I wrote in my Letterboxd review, I said the characters are extremely one-dimensional with dialogue that holds our hand through the entire run of their emotions. There's no nuance. Do you suspect that Maddie doesn't want to live the van life? Don't worry. She will say it almost directly into the camera in a couple of minutes. Do you want to know what Tyler's childhood was like in comparison to Maddie's? Don't worry. They will tell you directly how their different upbringings clash with each other's dreams for their future together. And they will do that multiple times. Like, there are multiple scenes where Maddie, played by Lula Bell, is saying, like, you know, I grew up in foster care. I was moved around and everything. So this is why the van life isn't really for me. And like, Tyler's response is like, well, you know, I had stable parents my entire life, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. And like, that's the extent of their characterization. Like, it's just like, that's them distilled into like the most like straightforward dialogue you could have. And that really just like got under my skin and made me really not care about the characters or what was going on, especially in like the other big thing. I'm still in the same, like, this is like a double-decker sandwich. So the other negative part is like, in addition to all of that, like, you've got Melissa Leo, who plays this seasoned like nomad lady who they meet at a van life meetup thing, who, like, the dialogue in this movie is so just bland and unset. Like, it doesn't, I hate to say like, oh, it doesn't make any sense, but it's like, you have like the stereotypical scene where the seasoned veteran of the van life lifestyle is telling the young person 2 months into the whole experience, like, okay, well, you know, you need to follow these rules, you know, don't stop ever, don't do anything. Like, she is aware that Maddie is freaked out and has experienced something. Like, it's not so much that she's saying it as like a double speak thing of like, oh, this applies to just van life in general, but it's applying to her like traumatic experience. No, it's like, she tells Melissa Leo that they saw an accident and there was some weird stuff about it. And then Melissa Leo chooses to say, oh, okay, well, here's like, it's the most movie dialogue ever. Like, oh, you need to follow these rules. I'm not going to tell you anything about like what I know about it, but you need to follow these specific rules and not do that. And then subsequently, they do every single one of those freaking things. Like, don't ever stop. And like, the next scene is them at a gas station. And like, I'm just like, what the, like, and the editing was terrible. Like, it kept jumping from, like, it felt like it was just like jumping ahead in the plot, and very, very, like, very much like we need to hit the 90-minute mark of this movie. We can't go over 90 minutes, so we're going to cut this transitional scene that shows the transition from day to night, and we're just going to hope that the audience is like, okay, well, time has passed. It was so frustrating. I really didn't like this movie. But the second compliment I'll say is the scene with the kind of rotating camera outside of the All Night Fitness gym, where she is going to the van. That I thought was really effective. Very good use of sound, having the sound of like the footsteps behind her and her turning around. It's the first time we see like the passenger in like close up. And it's disturbing. It's cool. It's very good. But yeah, this movie sucked so bad. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I can't really argue with any of that because you're right. I will encourage people to go check out a retro trailer for this movie.
Ooh.
That presents it as like an 80s slasher movie.
Interesting.
And I think maybe like that's how I approached it. Like, this is going to be kind of stupid, like 3 stars at most. Like, I guess I was just kind of ready for it to be, you know, just like B grade horror. that like the sort of on the nose dialogue didn't bother me that much. But it is funny because when you mention it, like what they say to each other, the couple, they do just kind of repeat those lines over and over again.
They do. and like, to the movie's credit, when they both have a shared experience with the passenger and it's like they're clearly seeing the supernatural thing, I did appreciate that. Like afterward, it's not like oh, she's crazy or whatever. It's like, oh, they're both on board. They're both aware that, oh, this is a thing. And then it really helps pay off the scenes of the scenes of her reading the book they got at the gas station or wherever at their stop there. It's like talking about the hobo code and like spelling out the myth of the, like making us read the screen to find the lore of the passenger. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe if she had found like some of those road signs like more organically, like it would have been more effective, because it is kind of silly that the movie, you're right, it like makes us read the book along with her.
Yeah.
Like these are the signs to watch for. There is kind of a cool sequence where they drive up to like just this vast like desert expanse of bodies.
That was cool.
I thought that was neat. Like I guess for me, this movie like threw me enough bones as sort of a dumb horror fan that I was satisfied.
And that's totally fair. And like I had the thought throughout this movie that it felt like, I also said this on Letterboxd, but it felt like kind of a throwback to, honestly, the kind of horror movies that came out like around the time that like Phone Booth came out in the early 2000s, like the early aughts. It felt like that kind of like studio backed horror movie that is like being made in reaction to like a more successful and nuanced horror movie that like hit it big at the box office. And it felt like that's what this felt like, but it didn't really have the tether of whatever it was emulating or anything. It just felt like it was a shitty movie. But and in addition to that, one of the moments that I almost laughed out loud in the theater was, it comes late in the movie. I'll be vague so as to avoid spoilers, but basically, they're having a conversation with Melissa Leo, and like, Jesus Christ, they're having a conversation, and it is the most random assortment of like narrative whiplash on like I've seen in a movie in a while. Like, it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, I do know about this thing. I don't know how you can kill it. Like you can't get out of it. Like it's after you. It's gonna keep hunting you until you're dead. And then it's like, oh wait, no, yeah, actually, there's this way that you can weaken it or whatever. And then like at the drop of a hat, she's like, but you've got to know how to read that. You need to know how to get there. And I'm not taking you there. And then next scene, it's like, oh, okay, I'll take you there. Like, what the, like, just, I mean, God, like, it made me almost howl with laughter. And it does pay off, and not even in an interesting way. That does pay off in a way, but it's just like, oh my God, how lazy were they writing this script? Like, punch it up a little bit. My God.
Well, it's also funny because she's all upset that they show up at her campsite. Yeah. Even though she told them exactly where she'd be earlier on. She's like, and it's like incredibly specific too. She's like, yeah, I'll be working at my sister's seafood restaurant at this location. And then she's pissed they show up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. I may have missed some line of dialogue or something, but she says that about like it's like a fresh seafood place in Flagstaff, and then later later it's like, okay, well, they're trying to figure out where, like, what exactly it is. And they're like, well, there can't be that many of them there. And I'm just thinking, like, a seafood place in a big city? Like, I mean, that's gonna be a little tougher than you think, I think. But, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't have fun with this.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
Also, like, does Melissa Leo need money? Like, what's going on?
Oh yeah, it would have been really interesting if they got Frances McDormand for that role.
I was thinking that, like, if it took place in the Nomad universe,
that would be so wild. If this was just like, if this was like Split and it was actually like a secret like sequel to Nomadland.
Oh yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it just, oh yeah, there was something else I was going to say about it. Oh, not to spoil it or anything. We're not going to spoil the ending or anything, but the needle drop at the end made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, like, obvious.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I wasn't, because I was just ready to get out of that theater. Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Passenger?
Not really. This is an example of a movie. It's disappointing because that teaser trailer is like a great short film in and of itself. And it really intrigued me for this movie and got me pretty pumped up for it. And the movie definitely doesn't live up to the tension of that teaser and that opening sequence.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I was thinking about that on the way to the theater. Like, I was trying to think, like, I know nothing about this movie except for this teaser, but I felt like I had heard, like, remarks about a couple in the movie, and I was like, okay, well, clearly there's something more to this movie than what's in the teaser. And like, I was kind of excited for that. I thought, like, okay, well, if the teaser did this, like, oh, I can't imagine what the whole movie would do. And I'm just like, ooh, coming out of it, I'm like, yeah, not great. Yeah. What did you end up rating Passenger, Sam?
I'm a sucker, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars.
Nice. Well, there you go. I'm happy to hear that. I rated this movie a 1.5 stars, which may be a little harsh. I will say, like, some of the set pieces were good and effective, but oh my God, like, everything else about this movie felt so undercooked and just so lazily done. I just could not do it. So maybe eventually I'll watch those first 5 minutes and maybe that'll alter my opinion, but no, this movie was a big disappointment for me.
I gotta say too, like, it's pretty easy to get 3 stars out of me.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, I saw your Apple Podcast review of the podcast. So yeah.
That's amazing. I would give this more than 3 stars.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I'm an easy mark for this sort of movie.
And I usually am too. I don't know if this was due to just me not being in, like, it wasn't even that I wasn't in the right mind space for this. Cause, like, I mean, it was kind of impromptu. Like, I got home from work yesterday and I was like, oh, I have time. I could go see a movie. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen Passenger yet. I was supposed to review it a couple of weeks ago. And then I just didn't. So I can just pop over there. I can get myself a drink and get my pretzel bites. And I was excited about it. And usually I'm very receptive to this type of, like, B or C grade horror. But yeah, it just really did nothing for me. So,
well, that's all right.
Yeah. Pretty good pretzel bites though. I get unsalted. And silver lining, since this is my birthday month, the soda that I got was free. So there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. So 5 stars. I would say 5 stars to the AMC I went to, but no, they didn't have enough trailers, and I missed the first 5 minutes. So yeah. Anyway, I think that'll do it. Once again, you can follow Sam at Sam Movie Man on Letterboxd, and also follow his work at MidwestFilmJournal.com. Sam, do you have anything coming down the pike in terms of reviewing movies or life events or anything? Aside from seeing Happiness on Saturday or Sunday? I'm not sure what day.
It's Saturday. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I will have a review up probably tomorrow of the Cape Fear miniseries.
Nice.
So stay tuned for that. I liked it because I like everything. As you can see from,
Hey, I don't begrudge you. I don't begrudge you anything except for you being kind of positive on Scream 7. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I might go down to 2.5 on that one. We'll see. I'm sure I'll watch it again at some point.
Honestly, me too. That I'll see it again, but no. Yeah.
So yeah, Cape Fear coming soon. I don't know what I'm going to do after that.
Nice.
We'll see.
Nice. Well, I'm sure I will drag you back to the podcast at some point soon.
Please do.
Oh, yes. So, for me, like I said, check out Odd Trilogies coming out this weekend. I had a blast talking to Andy and Logan about Duel, The Sugarland Express, and Jaws.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's always a good time chatting with them, and it was a blast to get to fill 2 Spielberg blind spots and revisit just an iconic shark movie. So stay tuned for that, oddtrilogies.com. That's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining me. As always, and thank you to the listener and make sure to follow the show on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also, check out Obsessive Viewer Podcast's other shows, Tower Junkies, a Stephen King podcast hosted by Tiny and myself, and Anthology, the Twilight Zone and classic sci-fi podcast hosted by me. Next time on the show, I think I'm definitely going to be reviewing Disclosure Day, hopefully with Tiny, and maybe Masters of the Universe. We'll see. But we'll see what happens there. But we're in the summer season, so there's going to be a lot of stuff. So until next time, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. And now, enjoy this short clip from a recent Patreon exclusive episode. For the full episode and more Patreon exclusive content, sign up at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Feels like they were about to lose the rights to Star Wars and they needed to just put something out there to renew the rights. I know, obviously, that's not the case or anything, but that's the kind of energy that this movie has. It just is a movie. It's a standard movie, and I think that it really it loses itself in the fact that it is the first Star Wars movie in theaters in 7 years. And I think that because of that, there is this, I don't know if I would say pressure on it, but it doesn't feel like the first Star Wars movie in theaters in 7 years. It doesn't feel like there's any fanfare to this. It doesn't feel like there's any big thing. It just feels like, hey, here are a few episodes of Mandalorian that we're packaging together to put into a movie. Thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. This episode was produced and edited by me, Matt Hurt. If you have feedback, thoughts on our episodes, or just want to connect, you can email me at matt@obsessiveviewer.com. For more information on this show, including a full archive of our episodes and show notes, visit obsessiveviewer.com. And if you enjoyed the show, please give us a follow on social media and subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice so you never miss an episode. Also, consider rating and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Audible to help increase our visibility and grow our community. If you want to support the show and get early access to new episodes, as well as a steady stream of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. For information on more podcasts presented by obsessiveviewer.com, visit obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts. Our theme song is A Little Mad Sometimes by As Good As It Gets. For more of their music, check them out on Spotify and at asgoodasitgetsmusic.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn. Check out the show notes for your promo code to get started podcasting today.